There's a whole process of keeping someone completely disoriented, completely isolated, completely at the power of their interrogators. Even now, she'll get nightmares and panic attacks. Nazanin went to Iran for a family holiday with Gabriella, who was then 1 3/4. It was Iranian New Year at the time, and she'd been every year to partly just be part of that celebration and all the family comes together, and then to go around and join in the different family meals and show off her daughter being that bit bigger.
If babies on the bus go, wah, 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 wah. Babies on the bus go, wah, 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 all day long.
Really just a time to all be together. Lovely 2 weeks, and then, came back at the end of it and a completely different experience. Nazanin was arrested at the airport, and footage has since been released by the Revolutionary Guard. She was told there was a problem with her passport and she was going to be taken away. Gabriella was given back to her grandparents, who were there to see off Nazanin and Gabriella, and she disappeared. I have no doubt that Nazanin is a hostage, and I think that's been clear since June of 2016, when we first got the message that she was being held to encourage the British government to make the agreement. I've been very critical of the way in which the UK government has handled Nazanin's case. They have raised their case and they've asked nicely, and they've been asking nicely for a long time and still do ask nicely. But it took them more than 2 years to acknowledge any violation in Nazanin's rights. We had a UN ruling from the UN Working Group on Arbitrary Detention to say this was an illegal case and she should be released immediately. And we had a second court case open that was blamed on the Foreign Secretary of the time.
Boris Johnson called you yesterday.
He did.
First time you've had any contact with him?
Yeah.
Did he apologise?
He was sorry for what Nazanin was going through and for her suffering, and he said that all of the country was behind her.
Right, well, we're all sorry about that, but did he apologise for making it immeasurably worse?
He didn't make that connection. In November 2017, Boris Johnson spoke in Parliament and said that Nazanin had been training journalists while she was in Iran. That was wrong. But that was used the next 2 days later to justify a second court case against Nazanin, and was used in the Iranian media day after day to justify the fact that a truth had been revealed by the secret government.
It was my mistake. I should have been clearer, and I apologise for the distress. I apologise for the distress and anguish that has been caused to Mrs. Zaghari-Ratcliffe and her family.
And it took our story from being a fairly minor story in British politics to becoming front pages for a couple of weeks. It caused Boris Johnson to go to Tehran to try and sort out her case and brief the press that he was going to try and resolve the debt. Unfortunately, once he did go to Iran, he didn't solve the debt, and then that had consequences for us all. The UK's instinctive approach to solving cases like this is to keep them very quiet, to keep them all separate, and there are a number of British families who are going through this situation. The Foreign Office will never have a meeting with all of us together. The government should have been standing up very clearly and very assertively and saying, back off. You don't treat one of our citizens in this way. Not trying to sign new oil deals, not trying to upgrade the embassy, not trying to improve relations, but to have it clear that red lines matter and things like this are unacceptable. There needs to be a clear mechanism that the UN uses to challenge it, and people need to be called out. What you've had with the Revolutionary Guard is developing this as a tactic that they've gotten away with. They've not done it consistently for 40 years, but they've done it on and off for 40 years, and they're doing it more and more. State hostage-taking is not acceptable, and as this grows and becomes something that other countries are watching and are learning as a good, asymmetric tactic to use, it's something that creates an increasing danger for us all. It took us a number of weeks before it was clear who'd got her and where she was being held. She was being kept in a solitary room, no natural light on all the time. There were 3 blankets, one to use as a pillow, one as a mattress, and one to cover herself. No chance of washing, so she was in the same clothes for 38 days until she was released from solitary, and she was released for a brief period. She wasn't able to stand up properly, and it took being made to walk with people helping her every day for a number of minutes to gradually be able to walk again and to reach out and to have human contact. They obviously put pressure on and said, listen, your husband has abandoned you and he's taking your daughter away, and we've got photographs of him with other women.
Is there anything that would let you believe that your wife's job, her charitable function within Thomson Reuters Foundation, is there anything that would let you think that perhaps she veered off course and perhaps was doing something outside of the remit of her job?
No, so she works on Morocco and Burma and sub-Saharan Africa. I can't see how that in any way is a national security risk for the state of Iran.
She's based in London. She worked on different projects. It's the administrative role, so her job would be to write reports for donors and book journalists to go and do stuff. Because she always wanted to go back to Iran, she made sure there was no work connection there. When Nazneen was arrested, Gabriella was 1 3/4 and was still occasionally being breastfed. So it was a deep shock. She would just go to the door wanting to get mummy. She would go and point at the wedding photo of us and point to mummy and say, want to see mummy. And she would wake up screaming every night, calling out for mummy. On 10th of October 2019, Gabriella was allowed to leave Iran and came back to the UK. Came back a shy, daunted 5-year-old, but bless her, has coped remarkably well. She can't speak English anymore because it's been so long, and yeah, she's adapted day by day. One of the things we noticed today when we were on the tube is Gabriella kept pointing out the cameras and kept asking her uncle and me, are they watching us?
Daddy's on the bus stop.
زد جلوتر میگیره.
What Nazneen has gone through is spectacularly unfair and spectacularly cruel. She is really up and down, really depressed, really angry with herself, angry that she can't do anything, angry that she can't get herself out of it. She's at this point now where she doesn't dare hope for anything. This can't go on. She can't cope much longer. She's trying to be as clear as possible that she can't cope. And certainly when she did the hunger strike, and that's the 3rd hunger strike she's now done, what she was saying is I can't cope anymore. I now have very sober conversations with the British government. I say, listen, you're making choices here. There are consequences to us because of your choices. Just be aware that you do not have the luxury of time. Both governments can sit here playing this game of poker with each other, playing this game of chess with each other. We are the ones paying the price for it. Not just us, there are other families paying the price, but it's just ordinary people who are being allowed to have their lives waste away while this goes on. And there is a real cost.